There's another universe. Please make some noise. Give me a
So, at the time that I'm recording this, it is the last day of 2025. And what a year it has been. And I think a lot of people can say the same. But honestly, this is the first year that I can say I've truly grown, I've truly done everything that I set my mind out to do. And I have changed as a person and have seen the growth that I want to continue to see. At the beginning of 2025, I embarked on a self-love journey. And I thought it was going to be about me slowing down, facing burnout, and taking the time to treat myself once in a while because I just had a baby in September of 2024. So I was a new mom and I was feeling pretty exhausted running my business, going to full-time school, university, and trying to build a better life for myself and my family. So I thought the solution was to take a break and to just relax a bit and maybe go get my hair done, go get my nails done, feel like myself, go to the gym. That was a huge part of it. But what I've learned is that self-love is truly a mental thing. It is truly something that you need to practice each day with every decision, with every task you make. It is not just about taking care of yourself. It is not about pampering yourself. Self-love is about self-respect. It is about seeing yourself as someone who is capable of doing anything she sets her mind out to do. I think a lot of people have ideas, really good ideas, dreams, and hopes for the future. And a lot of times they don't act on it. And some people might think it's laziness or they're just not ambitious enough. But the truth is, it's a lack of real internal self-love. It's a lack of self-respect. Self-love is something that you need to teach yourself. It is about teaching your inner child that the voice that was silent is not silence anymore. The things that you used to not be able to do, you are now able to do. It is about trusting yourself in a crisis or times of in hard times to make the right decision and owning that decision and not letting other people sway you. What I started doing at the beginning of the year was making regular routines and schedules, and I found that was really helpful for me, especially as a new mom. I would write out my day-to-day list. I would make sure I started the day going to the gym, and that would just put my mindset in a better place. And I thought that was enough. But to be honest, no, it wasn't. I was not pushing myself enough. I was not challenging myself enough. And yes, I was burnt out, but I was burnt out because, to be honest, I was not reaching my full potential. I did not know what I was truly capable of. So, what really helped was putting myself in rooms and situations where I used to be terrified of. I used to think, oh, I'm not confident enough. I don't have much to say. I don't have, what would I talk about? I started going to these networking events where I know I would meet important people and I would have an opportunity to listen to them speak, and then where I would also have an opportunity to speak about myself. And only when I sat in these rooms and realized that I have a lack of identity, how am I going to actually come across to these people? How am I going to introduce myself? I owe it to myself to introduce myself in a way that is truthful and beneficial and accurately reflects the things that I've accomplished. Why do I feel like I have to belittle myself just because I might be the youngest in the room, or maybe because I'm a woman, or because I'm a mom? The truth is, you don't have to belittle yourself. If you've done something, you own it. You have to own your accomplishments. You have to fine tune the things that you've done in the past and find a way to take a lesson out of each and every thing that you've accomplished. If you actually listen to the golden rule, the meaning of the golden rule, respect, you are supposed to treat others how you want to be treated. How can you treat others how you'd want to be treated if you don't even know how you'd want to be treated? So that was a huge realization that I came to this year, was self-love without respect is incomplete. Self-love is how you feel about yourself and how you carry yourself. And self-respect is how you allow yourself to be treated and viewed by others. You can affirm yourself all day, but if you tolerate disrespect from others, if you don't stand up for yourself, if you don't build your own credibility, you honestly have not embodied the true meaning of self-love. And self-respect turns inner healing into external standards. So when you are going on that journey to just heal inner trauma, childhood trauma, the self-respect is what allows you to say, no, I don't deserve that. I don't deserve to be treated like that. That person was out of line. I don't want to be talked to like that. So many people would stand up for their sister or their brother, and if they see them being mistreated, they're there to help, right? They're going to stick up for them. But how come when it comes to ourselves, how come, especially as women, especially as mothers, why are we so trained to tolerate disrespect? So it's about reconditioning your mind and almost viewing yourself externally. If you were your own best friend, would you allow that person to talk to you like that? No, you wouldn't. So why are you allowing that person to talk to you like that? What makes that person more worthy than you? What makes you less than? Nothing. It really is a mindset issue. And if you are trying to build your credibility and achieve something, start a business or build a brand, make some money online, having those standards and self-respect for yourself are what builds credibility. To be honest, I used to think that because I was quiet and shy, people would see me as the nice girl. They would just assume that I was a good person. But that's not true. People, a lot of times, they will take you at face value and they will judge you by your cover. I feel like because if you're a woman, if you are conventionally attractive, if you do achieve a lot of things, people, they don't know your background. They see you as you are today. So they might assume that you're a terrible person. They might not want to go into business with you or network with you. Having standards for the way people talk about you and controlling your own narrative are what actually create that credibility and make people want to hear what you have to say. And how you treat your time, for example, also teaches people how you would treat your work and how your time management is. Like it's very important if you are trying to build connections, if you are trying to achieve something, to value your time. Don't let people come in and waste your time. If they are not offering you any value, limit your time with them, set boundaries, and keep yourself focused on your path and what you've got going on. You are not there to solve other people's problems. And valuing yourself, another thing that I learned this year is that truly valuing yourself means not over explaining. People are going to talk, they're going to say, especially if you are making moves, if you are leveling up, they are going to talk about you. It's unavoidable. And the only thing that you can do to continue valuing yourself and continue going and not let these people push you off track is stop over explaining and stop undercharging. Set your price, stick with your price, and don't over explain. If it's too expensive for somebody, if you're too much for somebody, they can go find less. That's one of my favorite quotes from this year is like, if I'm too much, find less. Because it's not your responsibility to shrink to fit other people's narrative and other people's view of you and to make them feel comfortable. If they're not comfortable, that has more to say about them than it does about you. To me, that's a sign that they need to do some serious work. And maybe you're not meant to be friends with this person. Maybe you're not meant to be connected. And let these people go. Let people who aren't serving you go. Because to be honest, there's nothing that wastes your time more than people who are not adding value to your life and all they are doing is taking you. And they might not take money from you, but they're taking your energy, they're taking your mental health. And as a woman, and especially a woman in business or finance, you cannot afford that. You cannot afford to waste your time. Your time is your biggest asset. And another thing I learned is truly self-love is so much deeper than surface level. It starts with emotional regulation, learning to acknowledge the emotions and get to the source. Why am I feeling like this? Where did this come from? Is it rational? Challenge it. Some people, maybe in your case, maybe you need to see a therapist. Maybe it's getting therapy, maybe it's getting a good support system in place, but making sure your mental health is in check and making sure that you're able to regulate your emotions, especially when it gets hard. Because the truth is, like, success and running a successful venture, it really does take a really high level of emotional regulation. I would say that one of the number one reasons why so many business owners stop is because they realize how stressful it is. It truly is easier to work a 9 to 5. It doesn't take as much effort. It doesn't take as much thought. It doesn't take as much mental processing as running your own business, making content, and straying from the original group. So making sure that you are able to face hard times and face these situations with grace and just take a step back and analyze things through these emotions, that is going to get you so much further. And you're going to start to feel so much more confident in yourself and so much more capable. Because even if you're having a bad day, you're still going to get something done. You are that girl. You are. And that's a huge thing that I noticed with even being a mother. It takes such a toll on your mental health. It takes such a toll on your time. So finding that balance, being able to take a deep breath, take a step back, and challenge your thoughts, challenge the anxious thoughts that come in your head or the depressing thoughts that come in your head. And realizing that sometimes you really cannot wait for that motivation because sometimes your own mind is actually against you. And you have the power to change your thought process and you have the power to stick with dedication and stick with discipline because discipline is always going to trump motivation. Another thing that I learned was honestly becoming a mother. I've always been very ambitious and very much entrepreneurial. I've always wanted to have my own business. I've always wanted to be in charge. I've always wanted to be the boss, of course. But becoming a mother, a lot of people will use this against you. And I was surprised because I thought, if anything, it makes you stronger, right? It's hard. If you can go through that and come out the other side, it's amazing, right? But it actually, a lot of people use this against you. They think that, especially if you are high achieving, especially if you're making people jealous or making people challenge themselves, they are going to come at you with everything they got. So motherhood was a challenging experience for me because I realized that a lot of the friends I had were not good for me. They were not going to be there long term and they were not real. When life gets real, when you start a family, when you have a beautiful child, some people can't handle that. And they're using that as an excuse. They hope that once you go through postpartum, once you have that baby, they're going to lose your spark. It's a huge trend now on TikTok, mothers losing their spark. And that's what a lot of people are waiting on because they can't compete with you when you're at your best. So they want to compete with you when you're at your most vulnerable. And I beg to differ. I believe that motherhood adds depth. I think the reason that it is like my experience with, I did have postpartum depression. I think the reason that it is hard, especially when you look at society and how they treat mothers, it's because you truly are untouchable. You understand a whole new meaning of life. You have a whole new reason to go hard for things. So if you use that, use those new realizations, use that situation, use that sense of responsibility to your advantage, it really can push you so much further. I thought it was going to hinder me. It has pushed me so much further. My confidence has gotten so much more just, and honestly, I've never had this level of confidence until after giving birth. I just wish that more women would understand all that noise, everything people are saying, especially people who have never had one, especially other mothers who they choose to stay home, they choose not to be ambitious. Don't listen to them. They really have nothing to do with you and your life, and they really have nothing to add but misery. And don't join that pity party. Don't be a part of that because you have so much more in you. And you are, honestly, you are the same person you were before having kids, but stronger. That power that you get after becoming a mother is something that it just takes time to harness and takes time to use. Once you do, you truly are untouchable. And you don't have to shrink your ambition to be a good mom. That's one thing I wish people would really understand. I think 2025, the beginning of 2025 was so hard for me because I was battling with depression and just exhaustion and having a newborn. The newborn stage is brutal. But the biggest thing for me was I want to be a business owner. I'm in full-time school. I want to finish my business degree and I want to build businesses, create a future, create an empire for myself and my family. Did I have this baby too soon? Did I make the right decision? Because the noise gets you. People come into your head and they say, oh, I could never leave my baby. I could never go to work. I can't believe you would go to school. I can't believe you would start a business. I can't believe you'd ever want to spend time away from your son. Of course, that's not the goal to spend time away from him, but the goal is to create a future for us and to be my own person. The truth is, he is going to turn 18 and have his own life one day. Your child is not an extension of you. They are their own person. And them meeting friends and having new experiences is only going to help them. And you growing as a person, as a business owner, as a mother, mentally and physically taking good care of yourself is going to make sure that you are there longer and you are very present with him, with your child, so that you are able to be a better mother. Honestly, ambition is actually going to strengthen you as a mother. It is going to give you something to model for your children so they know that if you want something and you work hard, you will achieve it. I don't want my kids to think that, oh, once something happens in life that's not planned, things are out of your control and you should just give up. That's not something I want to teach them. I want them to learn if life throws curveballs at you, you just get up and you work harder and you continue to work harder. And it's not going to be easy, and some days are going to hurt. But when you continue to work towards something, you are going to see results. It might not always look the way that you thought they were going to look, but you're going to see results. And modeling self-respect and self-care is going to be part of your legacy. Your children are going to see that their mother was taking good care of themselves, that their mother had something that she was passionate about and pursued. And they're going to do the same thing. Kids do not take your word seriously. The truth is your kids are actually going to value your actions and the things that you've shown them way more than any kind of work, anything that you're going to tell, any lecture that you give them. So I would argue that being ambitious and making sure that you are chasing your dreams and making sure that you don't put your life on hold is actually better for your children. It's a better example for your children long term. And I'm not discrediting any mothers who want to stay home and that was their goal and that was what they're aspiring to do. There's nothing wrong with that. But why would you take it in you to shame others when you don't know them? Why would you take it in yourself to shame mothers who don't want to do that? There are mothers who want to do both. There are mothers who truly do not want to stay at home. They need to be busy. And there's nothing wrong with that. There's truly nothing wrong with that. And another thing that I learned, and I'm not sure also, it seems to be like a lot of other moms end up being the culprit when it comes to bringing your self-esteem down and making you question yourself. A lot of seasoned moms will feel like they can tell new mothers how to act, how to raise their children. And that can honestly be such a roadblock. Because one example I had was, and this was also another lady agreed with me at a networking event, was we would both get up early and do our makeup and do our hair and put ourselves together for the day. And we get comments like, oh, well, I could never have time to do my makeup, or why would you take time away from your kids to get yourself ready? And I'm like, are you kidding me? It only takes me 15 minutes. I have to wake up 20 minutes earlier to do my hair and makeup and put myself together. And then my mental health throughout the day is truly improved. I feel more confident. I feel more myself because this is what I used to do before. This is who I am, how I express myself. If you don't want to spend 20 minutes to put yourself together, then that's on you. If you want to look like a homeless person, and I'm not shaming because there's days that I will walk out looking like that too, but that's on you. That's not on me. That's not my responsibility. I choose to make myself look presentable. I choose to make myself look cute. I like doing my makeup. I like doing my hair. That's the bottom line. And honestly, all it does is change my attitude. All it does is change the way I walk, the way I move throughout the day. I have not noticed anything. My son he's not looking at me like, Mommy, why are you doing your makeup? He's one. I don't think he's going to care. So that's what I noticed too, is presentation also reinforces credibility. Because if you care about yourself, if you love yourself enough to pamper yourself and take care of yourself, then you're going to feel different and you're going to act different. People are going to notice. Being confident, even if you're faking it, looking put together and speaking clearly, and just being intentional with your presence. You meant to be here. You didn't just roll out of bed on a Monday morning and forget to shower. No, you are here with intention. You are here with a vision. It builds credibility. People want to hear what you have to say. Being pretty, looking good actually opens the door for you. It really does. I'm not going to say it's going to take you all the way, but it's going to open the door. Being presentable, when you look interesting, when you look important, people assume that you're important. They assume that you're interesting. They want to hear what you have to say. They're more likely to take you seriously. So it's honestly, I feel like self-love and self-respect is really like taking care of yourself and putting that effort in the morning is a huge thing. And same thing with the gym. Honestly, it's not going to be something that you just go to the gym once and it's going to fix everything one day. No, when you start putting this into practice, when you go to the gym regular, you're going to see gains. You're going to see your body changing, your physique changing, your mental health changing, your stamina changing. If you put these things into practice daily, it's not going to happen overnight, but just making it a practice to get up a little bit earlier, put yourself together, go through the day feeling confident, feeling intentional, you are going to start to value yourself and believe in yourself, and ideas and streams of income are actually going to fall into your lap. And that is really true. I've heard creators say this, and I'm not bullshitting. Honestly, I've been doing this for a while. I haven't had like a crazy break yet, but I've seen so many things I've said were going to happen just because I was intentional and I started just incorporating my vision for the future in every aspect of my life. I started being aligned with who I am and who I want to be. And another thing this kind of ties into motherhood, but also just in general, being a nurturing and loving person doesn't require self-abandonment. It doesn't require self-sacrifice. I used to be the type of person that if my friend would call me up in the middle of the night saying they need a ride or saying they need my credit card, I would just, they give me all kinds of excuses, right? I was that gullible, unfortunately. But I used to be the kind of person that would just run to them and help them because, wait, if it was me in that situation, I would need help. I would want help. But wait a minute. When you're in that situation, are these people running towards you? Are these people helping you in the same way that you help them? You need to start matching energy. And that includes your bestest, closest friends, closest people and family members in your life. Because once you take a step back and really analyze how they're treating you, you might be surprised. You might find that you're the one carrying so many of the burdens and everybody's busy. Let's just assume that everybody's got their own lives and they're busy. But is everybody jumping at one call? Is everybody running to you after you call them to support you and share your load? No. So why are you doing that for them? That is because you lack self-respect and you are self-sacrificing. You have to watch what other people are doing. You see so many people reach the top and not have that many people around them. That is a science. That is reality. Once you start focusing on yourself and your family and your dreams, you are going to lose friends because you're going to realize that your time is valuable and you really can't afford to be at everybody's beck and call. So be clear about your goals and be clear about the boundaries that you need to set in order to achieve these goals, whether that's reducing the amount of time you spend on the phone with a friend, consoling them, or reducing the amount of time that you spend going to events that you didn't even want to go to that aren't serving you, and changing the type of activities you are doing. Instead of going to the club and drinking every night, or instead of going to useless dinners or movie night, maybe you're going to more networking events. Use your time wisely. I feel like at least every week you should be doing something that is serving your future. And time with friends and family, not immediate family, but general family, like that can wait. That can wait until you have time because they are waiting until they have time. So why can't you wait till you have time? Respect yourself enough to stick to your boundaries and remember why you set them in the first place. Yeah. And also self-respect. Another huge thing is that once you start respecting yourself and you have these boundaries, you have your schedule, you'll find that your professional respect will also come hand in hand. So in your field, you will become more respected the less you allow people to have access to you. The more busy you seem, the more you respect your time. Because the truth is, if you are sitting around and you're always available, waiting for a client to call you, waiting for somebody to reach out to you, they're not going to think that you're that valuable of a person. They're going to think, well, she's available. So maybe what she has to say isn't as important. Maybe I don't need to sit down for this consultation with her. Maybe she's not in as high demand as I thought. Making scarce, making your seem more valuable means limiting who has access to your time and who gets to communicate with you on a day-to-day basis. Once people start to realize in order to talk to you, they have to set that appointment, they have to do it properly, you are going to realize that they respect you way more. They want to do business with you. People are going to start trying to meet up with you, trying to bring their ideas to you because they realize that not everybody has access to you and it makes them feel more important. And the truth is, people are only going to treat you the way that you allow them to treat you. Another thing I really learned this year, because I've always been so business focused and self-neglecting in the process, personal growth and business growth go hand in hand. In order to market your business, you don't necessarily have to be the face of it, but you have to believe in it. You have to know what it stands for and you have to promote it. You can't really do that without being able to promote yourself. If somebody asks you what you do, you have to be able to confidently tell them what you do, tell them what it means to you, and express yourself. Having confidence engraved into your brain and just changing that mindset, viewing yourself as valuable really does help you grow, not only personally, but also on the business side. Once I got out the door, I guess, after being in this funk of motherhood and baby bliss, once I got out the door and started talking, I'm not going to say it was perfect right at first because there were so many things I had to work on. The way I presented myself, I didn't really know what to say. I had multiple businesses. So just fine tuning that identity was a bit hard, but I noticed that the more I got out there network, people were actually waiting for me to talk. They actually had things to add to what I was saying. They had things to add to my business. And that's how you meet so many valuable other business owners, and you create those partnerships and you create the network, right? Because the saying really is true. Like, your network is your net worth. But the thing is, you're not going to get the right people in that network if you don't respect yourself, if you don't have self-worth. So another thing that was huge was identity clarity. So especially after becoming a mother, I think a lot of people go through this identity crisis because you feel like your old self can't exist anymore and you can't coexist with who you are as a new mother. And that is so untrue. I think if I were to give advice to myself a year ago or a year and a half ago, it would be just focus on your identity. Who do you want to be? Who do you see yourself as, or who do you want to be seen as? That is going to really, it's going to help everything fall into place. It's going to help you with that confidence, with that self-love, and it's going to help you create the credibility that you need to succeed. And I wanted to finish this off by just saying, remember, especially as a woman and as a mother, it's up to you to make your identity. Other people are not able to choose who you are and define you, and they're not able to box you in. You are not confined to one role, and you are not confined to one space. You are a whole person. You're not a single role. You can be a mother. You can be a multi-million-dollar business owner. You can be a model. You can be anything. And you can be these things all at once. They can coexist. It is a part of your life, not your entire life. And truly, it is up to you to lead your identity and create your own path. So to sum everything up, honestly, this year, it was such a big transformative year for me. I did not think I was capable of doing this much just because of the dark space I was in the beginning of the year. And I realized that honestly, it's not about resolutions. It's not about setting goals. Those are great, but those are just tools, really. The biggest thing is being completely aligned with who you are, who you want to be, where you want to go. Because every aspect of your life, if you are able to integrate them all together, you'll feel more at peace, you'll feel calmer, you'll feel focused, and you won't let unnecessary noise and unnecessary people stop you from doing what you need to do and being where you need to be. So thank you guys so much for listening. And I hope that it wasn't too all over the place. And hopefully you're able to find some value. But just remember, you are strong, you're powerful, and there's so much more out there. There's so much that you will miss out on if you don't practice true self-love and respect yourself.